What is the most NSW thing you have seen at an office gathering or party? Went as a date to a lawyer girl's work party. Open bar. Phenomenal food. Everything was amazing except the smell periodically through the night. Turns out one of the younger interns found out he never got the job opening. So he crapped himself and drank all night, acting as if nothing ever happened. He sure showed them. My assistant gave a BJ to one of my bosses at a bus stop while her boyfriend smoked cigars with our co-workers. His suspicions were confirmed when his girlfriend showed up with breath that smelled like a Christmas bonus. We bought our boss Vivacious Santa lingerie as a gag gift. She tried it on in front of us and proceeded to do a striptease dance all the while screaming out how her husband was going to love this. She's 54. I worked at a call center. I am a female, was 16 years old at the time, so the answer was still Les. No, I did not particularly enjoy it. That's how you assert dominance. When I was a teenager I volunteered to DD at a fancy dinner for the local RCMP detachment. Police had some bigwigs from provincial headquarters and such. I think it was like the station's 50th anniversary or something similar. Jesus Christ, one cop got on stage with the band and started singing. Was really good actually. One female cop dancing on a table broke it and went face first into the floor. Kept on partying once the blood stopped. There was a young new cop that year. Ripped good looking guy. So this guy was getting panties thrown at him left, right and center. Driving him and his current date home they fricked in the back seat. He slipped me $20 and told me I saw nothing. I saw everything. Next trip the cop and his wife were drunk but nothing outrageous. But as they were getting out he casually tossed what ended up being a pair of thong panties into the front seat and saying something I didn't quite hear. I assumed they were from the previous couple. And my favorite was driving one of the higher ranking police officers in my province back to his hotel and he just fell over as I rounded a curve. Like a tree. Unconscious. Had to get hotel staff to help drag him out. Now imagine all this with Mounties dressed in their red serge. And these are just the things I saw. My buddies who were DDing have similar tales. Hard to take a cop seriously when he's giving you a ticket for speeding in a car you watched him finger a girl's butt in. There's a lot of Canadian in the post. Went out for drinks with co-workers after service. It was a lunch-focused restaurant. And by the end of the night, one of our cashiers decided to lactate on me from across the table. Last year's work Christmas party. One woman, known for overdrinking, overdrank. She came to sit at the table I was at and proceeded to sit down. Where their WSS no chair. Straight on her butt. Later that night she was grinding on one of the boss's girlfriends and apparently tried to talk the boss and his girl into a three-way. She is still confused why she didn't get the promotion she was going for at the time. That would have granted her a company credit card and had her taking clients out to dinners. Company credit card and taking clients out for dinner might sound awesome, but all I'm hearing is working in your off time and more paperwork. Work party. One guy took a crap in the toilet followed by grabbing the vacuum cleaner and sucking it all up. That had to damage the poor filter. First Christmas party at a tech startup. Go to the bathroom towards the end of the night. Realize mid-P that the sounds coming from the stall next mine are the CTO and his wife going at it. Step out of the stall and the CEO and some sales guys are doing lines. CEO sees me and shouts, "Hey, it's Jared. My name isn't Jared." He called me Jared for about 6 months after that until I pulled him aside and corrected him one day. Fun times. Our company Christmas party had a tequila ice luge. One of our class A drivers got so wasted he was doing flips on the dance floor and juggling Corona bottles. Then he went and sat on a 19-year-old girl's lap and her mom went ballistic. He was kicked out and proceeded to drive himself home. What a guy. Let me answer a couple of questions. It's a rock and roll type company so heavy drinking is accepted. Not driving drunk though. Both mom and daughter work for the company and are quite bitchy. Driver is late 30s. He drove for the circus for years and apparently picked up a couple tricks along the way. The worst part of him driving was the company paid for Ubers to and from the party. Oh, and no, not Wisconsin. Christmas party. Married HR woman had a revelry with 5 of the warehouse workers. All still work there. HR woman is still married. Alright, my mistake. It was a cow dead bang, not a revelry, as far as I know. Sorry. This sounds more like a crowded bang. I saw a woman squirt champagne from her glory hole into the mouth of the woman who juicy inserted a champagne bottle into said tea. I worked as a P editor at the time, so it was appropriate to the situation. Co-worker threw his desk chair out of a 4-story window after having a few too many. Dang, that's a big window. Didn't witness this one but heard that this happened just a few months before I was hired. We had a wine tasting for the managers with just some cheese, minor hors d'oeuvres, etc. One particular manager got completely sloshed on wine and got super flirty with another manager from a different department who was significantly younger and good looking. At some point, this young lady put some scented lotion on her hands. Smelling this, the drunk manager came over to her and pulled his dong out and asked her to put some lotion on there too. Right in the middle of the room and tasting. I heard he was gone instantly. He was recently found out to currently be a tour guide on a duck boat and a bad one at that. Saw a drunk dude getting a handy under the table from another drunk dude. Both of them were supposedly straight when not drunk. Brodger. Used to work for a big bank. We had a little potluck for Christmas. And long story short, about 2 hours later, someone crap in the bathroom and smeared it literally, and I mean literally, all over the bathroom stalls, the wall, the stall door handle, the toilet sensor, freaking everywhere. It looked like a XXL Hershey bar stepped on an IED. We never did quite catch the elusive poop handle bandit. Legend says he's still out there, ravaging the latrines of financial institutions to this day. We never did quite catch the elusive poop handle bandit. Please, at least give the poop artist the correct title. We can only assume they were not banditing anything and made a mural with their own droppings. Worked in a warehouse for a while. We had regular awards nights where we'd all get fricked up and hand out stupid awards like Driver of the Year for the person who had the worst forklift accident, or who crashed her work car. Other things of note. 1. Doing lines with the boss off his desk every party. 2. Married co-workers banging in the car park. 3. The mentally handicapped and very drunk cleaner getting wrapped in packing tape by 3 guys. 4. Having forklift races in the aisles of the warehouse. Forklifts being driven by guys who are plastered. 5. Using forklifts to lift each other to the roof of the warehouse. I don't miss my old job, but dang, I miss the parties. I love the Dundies. My husband's old company decided that they weren't going to invite spouses to the Christmas party. Okay, I dropped him off so he could drink freely. No big deal. After he called me to pick him up, I ended up waiting in my car for nearly half an hour, watching some of his male co-workers through the window getting lap dances from some female co-workers. There's likely a reason the bosses decided to not invite spouses. It means that they didn't have to bring their own spouses either and they could let loose, for lack of a better term. Karaoke started with 2 assistants, both women, doing a ballad together, in rapid succession, on the stage, and with plenty of drinks between. The following things happened. Those 2 women sing a few songs while clutching each other and giggling the entire time. Some less than wholesome dancing together to a George Michael song. Remaining on the stage, one of them sits in a rolling chair while the other serenades, gives a lap dance to her to Santa Baby. At this point, another woman in the office decides it's best to throw some cold water on this party by cutting off the karaoke and play a Christmas music CD. First song is All I Want for Christmas Is You. The 2 women turn this into what seems like the perfect song to steamy slow dance to, much caressing and grinding happening. They are finally broken up once they start making out and light groping each other while trying to hide behind a Santa hat that one of them is holding up, covering their faces. And then, oh boy, it was at our annual awards dinner where they award Department of the Year, Employee of the Year, a couple other things for people who'd been there a long time. Woman from my department showed up with a bottle of vodka in her purse. The meal was free, the booze wasn't, and it was expensive. So people at the table were getting sodas, free, and mixing at the table. It happened every year. The venue mostly overlooked it. Woman who brought the bottle drank quite a lot of it. I mean, probably half of it herself over the course of the evening. When the dancing started later on, she was boombead. She was wearing this strappy dress that she kept falling out of. At one point she was pulling it up, too, to show off her thong. At some point she lost said thong and was sitting on the stage with her skirt pushed up to her hips and showing off everything. She got fired. Classic Meredith. I went to a customer's holiday party. It was a bit of a good old boy company, so it was at the shop and mostly drinking and grilling with funny awards. It was mandatory and had a dress code, so all these guys were as cleaned up as they could get, but in clothes that didn't fit right anymore ever and whatnot. Also a sausage fest since women are rare in industry and most if the guys were bachelors. The guys drank like it was water in the desert and decided to move it to a local bar they frequent. Well, that bar was hosting the holiday party for a lab and was a total clam bake until we showed up. You mix drunk nerdy girls and drunk manly men and you end up with a lot of finger banging and it ain't discreet. It was a match made in heaven. Absolutely no fallout. The female bartender was egging them on and the boss men had gone to a different bar. They often ran into those girls at lunch there, but there were no repeat performances. I was all over that holiday clam bake until I realized it was not a party with lots of seafood. A coworker once stood on a swivelly chair. This is definitely one of the more dangerous ones. I know our risk manager would have something to say about someone doing this. A group of girls pre-gamed the Christmas party pretty hard. They show up wearing prom dresses and 20 minutes later, the most smashed if the girls is out back with her prom dress hiked up above her waist, panties at her knees, bent over taking it from some dude. This set the tone for the rest of the night. Marriages were unintentionally put on hold so drunken co-workers could gain carnal knowledge of each other. Many walks of shame the following day. Worked at Polish retirement home. Christmas party every year is held in the residence party room. Approximately 30 late 40s early 50s Polish women pounded back the vodka like they shouldn't have been alive afterwards. Many insane things each year. Always some passed out. Always some of them competed to get the attention of the one and only male, the crazy drunk maintenance man. And always at least one person ended up crying. Once they all happened at once. Nurses got blasted. Maintenance dude got blasted. Nurses had him sit with them at one of the tables. They played some weird butt drinking game as best I could tell. They would make out with him, then take a shot after. Then they all cheer. Eventually I hear chanting and look over. One of the girls is on her knees now, quite sure she blowing him. Except the chanting sounds more like yelling. Look closer, she doesn't seem to be moving. One of the other women is moving to. I wasn't sure. Help the other one suck him off? Nope. She grabs the girl under the shoulders and pulls her off the guy's dong and I hear horrible coughing and the girl lands on her back. The guy's dong is at full mast as he bursts out crying. The guy starts muttering something about how he almost killed her. He's bawling. Dong is still out and waving around. The girl woman is on the floor and coughing but one of the other nurses tries to give her mouth to mouth. Far as I could tell I think the head giver passed out sucking the guy and choked on his dong but was out so cold she was just gonna die. So someone tries to do CPR on the now conscious woman and Ms. Dick Sucker doesn't want or need it. So they start fighting wrestling on the ground and the chanting starts again. Dude is still crying with his dong out but now he's standing over them yelling don't fight over me. Now this is all during the day and there are other workers on shift cause the place doesn't shut down just cause of the party. So in burst a couple of sober nurses to help. Someone had radioed them for help cause of the person choking on dong. They burst in and yell what the frick and then the dude with his dong out turns around and faces them. And both scream and run out of the room. Good times. WTF. When I was in my early 20s, I was working at a restaurant with the world's nicest and most innocent group of guys. One weekend, we threw a bachelor party for one of the waiters who was marrying his HS sweetheart. Beer. Strippers at someone's house. Crazy. We all hooted and hollered when the strippers tore off their clothes and walked around the room to each guy. We whistled and giggled when the bachelor got a personal show with whipped cream. Good times. As the girls were ending the show, they asked if anyone had any requests before they packed up. One of the cooks, who was at least 20 years older than most of us, walked over and had a serious, 5-minute conversation with the girls. He then turned to us and said that we all had to cough up $300 if we wanted to see something special. Without hesitation, we handed the money to the girls and sat back in anticipation for what was sure to be a lovely show. He laid down on the floor and both girls pee and crap on him for the next 5 minutes. Guys were gagging. The bachelor started crying. I screamed in terror. One guy walked over to them and yelled, "Why? Why? Why?" It was as if the devil himself, in mere seconds, had snatched the innocent souls of 15 naive idiots. The show ended in silence. The girls freshened up and left with their ride. The cook slid on his jacket over his soiled clothes, walked out into the cold night and never returned for his shifts. This is amazing. Our payroll manager got blackout drunk at a Christmas party a few years ago and started insulting people and telling them that they weren't worth how much they were getting paid, while quoting the actual salaries. She was fired the next day, but didn't even remember what she'd done. We had a Mardi Gras themed holiday party. One guy decided to bring his saxophone and be a jazz man. Normal enough, right? Well, he also thought that to be a jazz man, he needed to show up in blackface. Luckily, this is rural Wisconsin and no one at the company was black, so we all just got really drunk and told him he's an idiot. Luckily, this is rural Wisconsin and no one at the company was black. Honestly not sure if this makes it better or worse. Finally, I have a great one for this. So I has just started at my current company 2 and a bit years ago at the end of October, and another new girl had started a month later. She was a bit shy but quite a big girl. So with her working here for about 3 weeks and me still being the new guy, along comes the Christmas party hosted at quite a nice location nearby, the kind of do where multiple companies buy a table for their employees then send them off to cause havoc. The night of the Christmas party comes and she joins some co-workers for pre-drinks, and they turn up pretty drunk already with more drinks on the table and even more in their handbags. About 2 hours into the night, this girl is not shy anymore. She is mid-20s, but decides she needs the loo, so middle of the floor surrounded by co-workers and tables, cranks down her tights and pisses on the floor, literally spraying everywhere, no shame at all. When people try and ask her what the frick she's doing, she starts trying to fight them until the one poor designated senior team leader sternly drags her away and tells her to go home now. 2 years later and she's still working here, and we had our Christmas party last weekend and she causes another scene taking a bottle of wine in her purse into the swanky restaurant we were in. And when she starts mouthing off me and my big drunken mouth apparently yelled, "Why don't you just go pee on the floor?" which caused her to storm off. I regret nothing, nor totally remember it. There was a co-worker who arrived in a giant baby diaper with nothing else on except sneakers, and someone smeared chocolate frosting on his diaper at some point. Not super wild, but this was a dry party. I worked at Macca's and we had a work party. Some of the crew volunteered to run the night shift while the rest of us went 10-pin bowling and drank scrumpies. I was a manager, so I got to see the camera footage the next day. It was of me walking around the restaurant and kitchen with my pants down, shaping my balls to look like a brain and making people look at my taut scrot. There were also brown eyes and squashed rats, which is where you press your dong and balls up against the glass. That was me in the drive-thru window. I woke up horrified and knew I was in trouble. There was a small fallout. I miraculously didn't get fired. No one formally complained. My punishment was to wash car windows as they went through drive-thru on my day off and donate the tips to the Ronald McDonald House charity. I'm North American and I must assume you are Australian. When I used to work for a large corporate law firm, a guy and a girl who both worked in the accounts team got in an argument. One thing led to another and the girl threw her glass of red wine over his white shirt. Without missing a beat, he just grabbed her by the throat and started choking her. This was just off the side of the dance floor, in front of 300+ staff. That's my fetish JPEG. Went to bar for after party. Dude was playing pool with girls, was getting killed. Whipped his balls out and put out them on that table. That sounds like a quick way to lose any chance at having children. A bunch of people from the office decided to get together and head to a foam party. One of the girls got white girl wasted and stripped down to nothing but her panties and danced on one of the tables. Made for an interesting night. Thanksgiving at my shop, we all drew hand turkeys on the whiteboard. Whoa. My co-worker, who is also my friend before we started working there, trying to frick his GF in a river while the whole company was around, along with their significant others and family. P.S. This was on a canoe day trip. This is how you become the 0.0001% of people to get the flesh-eating bacteria eat your junk off. My co-worker basically diddled herself in the middle of my boss's wedding reception, in front of most of my boss's extended family. Good times. First year at the company, married CEO all over an employee pretty much in front of the whole company. Awkward AF. Both really drunk. The fact that they didn't start making out in front of everyone was a Christmas miracle. They probably didn't make out in front of everyone because they were gonna go frick afterwards like they probably have been for a while. My Christmas party is on Friday. Guess I should just stick to beer. I stuck to beer for a Christmas party once. Proceeded to vomit out of my boss window while he drove me home. Trick is to say I should stick to X amount of beers plus. I joined a company and was hired by the new boss. Most of the tenured employees were against new boss and his new hires. Every conversation was dependent on who was present and how private it was. Bad environment. Cue the team builder. The majority of the team had worked together for a while and partied hard. The new people, including management, had no idea how bad of an idea a bar setting was. We all got a meal and 2 drinks on the company's dime. People were asking right away if they could trade their meal for more booze. After the budget was spent, you could see the managers trying to be fun and participate and just accept that it was a shit show in the making. They excused themselves and left. I was new and didn't wanna ride the sinking ship, but I stayed for a while. The crew was great and fun. They obviously had a work relationship, and the bar setting brought out the intimacies that never had an opportunity to blossom completely. 2 people ended up hooking up. A bunch of people smoked weed in a car, and the crazy thing was the girl showed everyone her fake tea to everyone at the bar. There was a stronger bond after that. The management didn't last, but I did. Better management came in after that and cleaned house. But that team builder was the most ridiculous work thing I've ever been to. Saw tea. Looks like fake tea are the real hero here. All 30 of us ended up on top of a mountain at sunrise, naked and drunk. We then went for breakfast and back to work. Bus hijackings can be brutal. CEO slapped my butt in front of my boyfriend and kissed a co-worker in front of her husband. His slapping my butt was not invited and I was thoroughly enraged. I don't know about his kissing my co-worker though. Slap his butt in front of his wife. I was the one who started giving him head in the middle of the party. It's okay though, we're still together to this day. That is one lucky maintenance man. At our Christmas party recently, I put a co-worker on my shoulders and carried him along so he could attach some tinsel to the beams in the roof. That was pretty unsafe. Someone did offer a ladder halfway through, but we were already on a roll. I love this literal NSW. Just recently went to my girlfriend's vet office Christmas party at the owner's very nice house. The party is known for everyone jetty extremely wasted. I'm driving, so I stayed relatively sober. My GF on the other hand did not. She was already quite tipsy off of all kinds of mixed drinks. I head to the bathroom down the hall for 5 minutes. Come back to realize she had taken 3 shots. 2 is her total drinking limit. Fast forward cut 10 minutes and she's absolutely sloshed. She requests to go to the bathroom and starts asking everyone the quickest way to get there like we're about to go on a road trip or something. I escort her carefully and let her do the booziness. While waiting, I got caught up talking to a bunch of co-workers and kinda forgot she was in the bathroom. About 15 minutes later she comes rushing out saying we have to leave because she does not feel good. I inform everyone we are going to head out when I hear someone yell, "Oh frick," from the bathroom hall. Turns out in that 15 minutes, my girlfriend managed to completely break the toilets in half, causing the plumbing pipe from the wall to explode as well, which started flooding the room. As an added bonus, she decided to start throwing up at the front door as well. Let's just say I sobered up real quick. Anyways, the folks were super supportive of it even though they had to replace the flooring, plumbing, and the toilet. Didn't even make her pay anything. The owner also posted pictures on Facebook of his broken toilet and said it was the best party they've had in a while. Summer Clark event. Clark has brought his GF, who was very attractive. Marizo, that you would have thought this Clark capable, and everyone is having a good time. Dinner ends and people are deciding where to go out drinking, when server shows up with a tray full of tequila shots. Partner's wife has ordered about 15-20 shots for the maybe 10 people still standing there. Anyway, we start to get to work on the shots and now partner's wife, who we are realizing is really drunk, wants to do body shots. Long story short, a minute later, Parter's wife is sucking salt of the nape of clerk's GF's neck while everyone but mostly the clerk is nervously laughing. We all head to the bar, except partner and wife apparently go home rather than join us. Clark and GF don't last much longer as the wheels come flying off her wagon at the bar about 15 minutes later. Good times, good times. For your information, Clark is now a 4th year associate and I don't believe I've seen the partner's wife at a firm function in quite some time. My supervisor and I somehow ended up on the couch in the basement of another coworker's Christmas party, watching Demon P. Used to work as a pressman in an old school magazine poster print house, where the print side is mostly male and post treatment mostly female, for the most part 50+ old. Pressmen are traditionally very keen on getting their drink on, in this being Finland in the 90s. Well, suffice to say there were always loads of drunk people at our events. Most parties were disbanded after first few wrestling bouts. It was usually around the 3rd or so round of playful test of strength that someone got angry for real and then fists became involved. I have no idea why, but they were always wrestling. Guys in their 40s and 50s, drunk as frick, wrestling. Always some groping, but those ladies had been around these kinds of guys for decades, so they just slapped them off or used that commanding tone blue collar working women sometimes develop. A harsh goddamn Tim, behave would always calm everyone down for at least good 10 minutes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.